I'll go ahead and share, and Angela, and you can take it from there.
Perfect.
Look good? Seeing the slide? The annual member meeting?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Angela.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our annual meeting. We are really excited that you are joining us this evening. I just want to open us up and share a few thoughts. First, we're really excited to be celebrating 30 years of nonprofit bike advocacy in Illinois with you. Hopefully all of you have checked out our new logo and are excited about whatever swag we come up with. Our official anniversary is on April 22nd, which also happens to be Earth Day this year. We're glad to have you, and we truly appreciate your continued support of LIB Ride Illinois. Whether you've been a member a few days or since day one, we have an action-packed agenda tonight, so let's get rolling, pardon the pun. You see on the screen our agenda, which will be a welcome and housekeeping. We'll have an update from our executive director, annual member meeting. We'll discuss 2022 and beyond. We'll have a Q&A session, a raffle, which unfortunately I am not eligible for, and you must be present to win, so you better stick around. And then we'll have a call to action and close the meeting out. For those of you, I'm sure in all of this time, you are all Zoom aficionados, but not everybody uses the webinar platform. So for those of you who are attending today and are not panelists, in order to communicate, you will see on the bottom of your screen, you will see a Q&A tab and a chat tab, which I see several of you are using it. Feel free to use the chat to give us a shout out, say hi, where you're from. But if you have official questions, please use the Q&A tab. It allows our moderators a quicker chance of seeing your questions, as well as making sure we can mark them that they were answered so we don't miss them. This meeting is also being recorded and streamed live to Facebook Live. As always, please be respectful. Consider this is a public audience, no cursing, no really aggressive engagement, things of that nature. We appreciate your being here, and I think that's it for me.
Yes, thank you, Angela. So Angela Brooks is the chair of one of the board committees, our membership and fundraising and membership. And so thank you, Angela, for kicking things off tonight. My name's Dave Simmons. I've been executive director since October of 2019. This is definitely a dream job for me. So those of you who I've met and the board who I've worked with, I really appreciate your input, your involvement. And yes, I did start this job just a few months before a global pandemic. So what better way to learn the ropes of a new job when everything's turned upside down? So I'm not going to read this slide to you. I do want to thank Ralph Banasiak for compiling this. He's working on a bit of a Ride Illinois history for us, but you can see some of the key dates in Ride Illinois history. And as Angela mentioned, we're coming up on a 30-year anniversary of the incorporation of what was League of Illinois Bicyclists is now Ride Illinois. So, take a moment, look at some of those dates that we shared. There's some exciting things on there. I'm working with IDOT, getting a paid executive director, even though the folks before Ed were doing it all volunteer. The Grand Illinois Trail and Parks Ride, which is now our Gibbet, our Grand Illinois Bike Tour. So over 30 years of history, there's been some really exciting milestones, and this being the start of a new decade. So we're very excited to start year 31 as of Earth Day, as Angela pointed out. If you were involved or you were a member and you remember some of these things, go ahead and put it in the chat. Go ahead and comment. We want this to be as lively and interactive as a webinar can be. So I'm going to run through kind of the commercial part, if you will. Talk about some of our goals. We're going to talk about staff and some things that we've been doing the last couple of years. This slide, these are the high level goals of the Ride Illinois, the statewide bike advocacy organization. Our mission is to make Illinois better through biking. We tweaked that mission a little bit back in 2020. Prior to that, the mission was to make biking better in Illinois. We had a board strategy session, and we kind of wanted to flip that perspective, be more inclusive, grab really everyone in Illinois. And so instead of making biking better in Illinois, we're going to make the whole state better through biking. So it just, in my mind, it's a different perception. Hopefully you see the value in that as well. And in the end, no matter if someone rides a bike or not, more butts on bikes does make things better for the state. So we are excited to make that shift. I'd like to introduce our mighty staff of, well, I guess we could say 2 3/4 now. So myself, Dave Simmons is executive director. Gina Kenny is our moderator tonight. So she handles all the communications and social media. So if you're seeing, when you see that, not if, when you're seeing those emails, or if you're following us on social media platforms, Gina does the bulk of that work. I like to say I did not kick Ed Barsati out of his role as executive director. He wanted to step down from the day-to-day, but he still is with the organization, focused on some of our planning efforts and some of the engineering details that I just don't have the attention for. So unfortunately, Ed wasn't able to join us tonight. He is traveling. And then most recently, we have Jessica Hoffman, who is, I learned today, she just accepted a full-time teaching job, which is exciting, at the high school that she attended, I believe. Lives down in Belleville and is helping with our Ride Illinois Safely. That's our education program. So anyone who is reached out about any kind of education classes or information, typically the response comes from Jessica at the education at Ride Illinois email. So there's our current staff. Want to take a moment to thank our corporate members. So these are organizations who, much like you all, give an annual contribution, a financial contribution, and believe in our mission. And so we have everything from lawyers to coffee roasters to brewers, to bike shops to engineering firms. So it's really exciting to see this program grow now over the last couple of years. So if you're any of these businesses are near you, we certainly invite you to patronize them, encourage folks to support them as well, because they are supporting our mission to make Illinois better through biking. One of the initiatives that we launched a couple of years ago, we called our Ride Illinois Community, which I do believe is still my background. The idea being, no matter what kind of bike you ride, no matter where you ride, no matter why you ride, we really want you part of the Ride Illinois community. So the dictionary defines community as a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. So what better way to develop community than just saying, hey, you ride a bike, look up Ride Illinois. They're doing some cool things, become a member, take their quiz, that kind of thing. So it's kind of a loose way and a casual way to invite and welcome folks into our community. One of the things that, and I think this picture on the right depicts pretty well, is that we really want to change that perception of cycling or riding a bike from a sport to a lifestyle. So you don't need fancy clothes. You don't need to pound out miles or worry about watts or any of those things, right? That makes the activity of riding a bike much more attainable to the masses. So that's kind of in the vein of this Ride Illinois community as well. And our little tagline, we're pedaling forward together, just adds to that community feel that we're trying to build through Ride Illinois. All right, here's just a few updates. So what's been happening the last few years? IDOT manuals, those are the policy documents that engineers follow almost to a T. Based on Ed's knowledge of engineering practices and that, we've been able to suggest, and then IDOT has implemented many dozens of changes to those manuals. It doesn't mean immediate impact, but it means that as new roads are built or roads are repaved or communities reference these materials, it'll have a lasting impact. We do a lot of reviewing of IDOT projects. We get at least 2 or 3 a week that come in. We look at that and offer suggestions on how that project could be more amenable and more bike friendly. So yeah, lots and lots of those come through. Also working on the legislation. I think the biggest win recently was House Bill 270, which eliminated the local match for municipalities, which means the locals don't necessarily have to come up with money to add something as simple as a sidewalk, if they so choose. So that again will have impact over time. And then we're working on a questionnaire for candidates. The Secretary of State, the IIJA is the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. That's a new transportation bill. So we're keeping an eye on that, working with IDOT on that as well. And we frequently hear from different municipalities, whether it be a small project or a bike plan, just seeking some input. So lots of communication related to that policy and legislation, and a lot of it tied to infrastructure. This is kind of my wheelhouse, the education piece. And so we've developed the Ride Illinois Safely program. We launched that last year. It's the reason that we were able to bring Jessica on as well. So if you go to the Ride Illinois Safely page, it's rideillinois.org/education. You'll find information about all these things listed here, including our bicycle-friendly driver course, which we have offered 5 times, once a month, the last 5 months, and we've averaged about 32 people at each of those courses. So it gives us a sense of that there is interest, and we intend to continue that into the summer as more people are driving and more people are biking. The mini grant program, that's our program that we get funding from IDOT to incentivize schools to administer the mini grant program, administer our bike safety quiz to students in schools. This year, our goal is 50,000 students, and we are ahead of our pace for last year. So I do think we're going to achieve that goal. So that's been very successful since 2018. Those of you who are interested in teaching, we just the other day announced, or I should say secured, space and a date for a league cycling instructor seminar that's going to take place at McKendree University in Lebanon, where George Farrow and George is from Lebanon and Jessica's from close by. So that's going to be coming up June 24th to 26th. Anyone interested in that, please shoot us an email. You can shoot it to the education@rideillinois.org, or send it to me, send it to info. But we're really excited about that seminar that's going to be taking place in the southern part of the state. We're going to do another digital ad campaign on social media. And then the one thing, I think if Cynthia has her way, and typically Cynthia gets her way, we're gonna focus on some curriculum that schools can use to teach biking and maybe walking safety in schools, which would be really a big win for the state. So long-term goal, but something we want to start looking into. All right, shifting topics real quick to events. Upper left, that's what's happening tonight, our annual member meeting. We appreciate your input, we appreciate your support, and we want to hear from you. Towards the end, we'll have a Q&A session as well. So thank you for being here. Other things that are happening, our Grand Illinois Bike Tour coming up in June. If you're on the fence, especially if you're thinking maybe hotel, I'd certainly encourage you to register sooner than later, because that will fill up. The Let's Ride Illinois program, that's briefly the idea there is someone's willing to coordinate a community bike ride, a casual, family-friendly, open to all community bike ride. And we just picked 10 days in September. It's over 2 weekends. And we just ask folks to tell us about their ride, and we put it on a map and we share it via email and social media. Last year we had 22 registered rides. We'd love to, maybe we double that this year. That also you can find on the Ride Illinois website. And then later on this year in Champaign, we're going to have the Illinois Bike Summit. Development and programming for that is already underway. Very excited about what is our every other year event to bring advocates and professionals together and network and have conversations and share ideas. So October 12th, save the date. We hope you can join us in Champaign. We're also looking to have it's going to be a hybrid event. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like yet. So if you can't travel, there should be an option for you to attend virtually. All right, just a couple more things here. We have developed a volunteer program. I noticed when I was looking at the participants, we've got some folks in our RAT team, is what we call them, our regional action team. So these are volunteers who have offered their knowledge, offered their input, offered their time and energy going to events or rides, sharing information about Ride Illinois and bike safety quiz. I think we're closing in on about 50 people who have signed up for this. And, I'm really happy with how the program has developed and the level of involvement that we've had. So if you're looking to help promote biking for recreation and transportation in your area of the state, consider signing up for our Regional Action Team program. Let's see, we're also thinking of adding, so we'll talk briefly later on about some board committees, maybe adding some members to those board committees, something for the board to discuss. That'll be another way to get involved. As you'll see in a little bit, we're welcoming 5 new board members tonight, which is very exciting. And as always, share your suggestions. Our contact info will be at the end. I think most of you know how to find us already, but you're the eyes and ears out in your area of the state. So whether there's suggestions, complaints, ideas, we're here to hear from you. So please make a point to reach out to us. All right, and then from the engagement standpoint, we're excited that so many folks are here tonight. This is the first time we've done one of these events, so thank you for being here. We're trying to engage with you as members, with the general public. Minor things like our new membership portal, letting people use PayPal or Apple Pay. I mentioned the board committees. There's also been a lot of work from one of the board committees, the Governance and Nominating Committee, on updating the organization's bylaws and developing a privacy policy. And all of this information is on the Ride Illinois website. So you can see, how we basically don't share your information, for example. But then bylaws are, those are the guiding principles of the board and the organization. So thank you to that committee for all the time and energy that was spent working on those tasks. We sent out a member survey. I'm going to share some results here in just a little bit. Thanks to those who replied to that. And then little things like improving the website. And then a big thing like an updated strategic plan. So there's a lot going on. Maybe I'll go back to the slide with 4 staff and kidding. But there is a lot going on. And we're excited about the future for you as Illinois residents and for Ride Illinois as an organization. So briefly, I wanted to run through some of the results from the member survey. We're really looking at this year's survey as kind of a benchmark, right? As you can see, 381 people replied, which is not a bad response rate based on the number of members that this was sent to. It's kind of in line with industry standards. But as a membership organization, your input is certainly important. What's exciting about this slide in particular, when the question is, how satisfied are you with Ride Illinois? 99% of people who replied are either very satisfied or satisfied. And then, there's a couple people who fell in the other buckets. And while that's unfortunate, we're excited that the overwhelming majority are pleased with the work that we're doing. Social media. So what's interesting here is that 59% of those who responded, they're not on social media, or they're not following us on social media. That means outreach such as our e-newsletters, which Gina sends out monthly, or the Upshift magazine that comes out in the summer, or even some of the postcards we've been sending. That's our opportunity to reach the folks who are not on social media. So again, we're looking at this survey data, and we'll develop some action items from it. It's pretty new at this point, so we can't necessarily say what we're going to do specifically yet. We all love email, right? So the question was, are we bombarding you with email? Are you good with it? You want to hear less, you want to hear more? The fact that 89% of respondents were pleased with the level of email is really, I was really pleased to see this, because Gina would be the first one to tell you that, like, we talk pretty often about, should we be sending out this email blast? We don't want to inundate folks. So it seems like we're in a good spot right now. I know sometimes the communication email, you might hit a couple, 2, maybe 3 in a week. That should be the anomaly. we just want to keep you informed. All right, a couple more here. We started talking about policy and funding priorities. And the top three, apologies that the quick way to pull this graph from the Google form cropped out some of the text, but 92% of you said that working with state and local officials to increase investment in bike ped infrastructure and programs was your top. We had folks were asked to choose their top three. This one made it into 92% of those responses. So we hear you. 51% want to promote bicycle-friendly policies at the state and federal level. That means complete streets policies, commuter benefits, e-bike rebates, those kind of things. And then the third was 44% want us to work closely with IDOT to develop and implement policy improvements. So again, these are just the results. The next steps we'll be sharing in the future. But again, thanks for your input. When it comes to education and encouragement, what do members tell us? 85% want us to work with cities and towns to improve the bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure. I probably could have guessed that would have been at the top. And then the next two have to do with education. Number 2 was educating motorists. So they are compliant with traffic laws and are aware of people on bikes, pedestrians, vulnerable road users. And then the third one was educating people on bikes, right? We hear it from both sides all the time. Motorists did this, bicyclists did this, right? So there is a need to educate the public. And so we can ramp up some of our education efforts. Just a few more here, COVID-19, right? So we've all been impacted in some regard. For the past 2 years, riding a bike, it was really one of those things you'd hear in the news, you'd hear from elected officials, what can you do that's safe? Well, go ride a bike. So what we see here is, if you look at the red wedge, those are the folks who've been riding their bike more since the pandemic. So about half, they rode about the same amount, and then almost a quarter who rode more. And then, of course, there were some that rode a lot more and some that rode less. But it seems like for those who replied, the trend was that they were able to get out on their bike more, be it for recreation or transportation. So kind of an interesting question here. When we talk about the future of the organization, we need to look at who our members are. And so this slide shows, and these were optional questions, and many people chose to answer this question, which we appreciate. The takeaway here is 87% of our members, or those that replied, are age 55 and up. So, how do we attract those under 18s, 18 to 24, 25 to 34? That's the challenge and the task for staff and the board to work on. If you have suggestions, please let us know. You have, you're a young person yourself, you have kids, you've got grandkids, like what appeals to them? And feel free to throw suggestions in the chat. We'll go ahead and save the chat. But that will be one of the things that as we work on a new strategic plan and we integrate ideas from new board members, right? This is something that we definitely need to pay attention to. And then kind of in the same vein, when we ask gender, again, an optional question, we are predominantly, our members are predominantly male. So how do we attract more female members, non-binary? Let's just make this a more diverse and general organization, going back to our Ride Illinois community. How do we bring those people in to our community? And then the last demographic question had to do with race or ethnicity. And as you can see here, predominantly a white Caucasian, 90%. I did look at the population of the state, and we're 61% what is the population of the state that identifies as white, 17.5% Hispanic or Latino, 15% Black. So it's just a basis of comparison. But again, we asked these questions just to learn more about our members and then look for areas of opportunity that can just make us a stronger organization, stronger membership base. So those are some of the results. The more interesting questions and the more interesting results. We'll look at the full survey results, including some of the qualitative responses that we received in the coming weeks and months. And I think with that, I'm going to turn things over to Dick Westfall to kind of walk us through the business aspect of this evening. So Dick, are you here?
I'm here. Well, welcome to the annual member meeting, and I want to call it to order. So thank you all for joining us. The first order is to approve the minutes from our January 12th board meeting. And I'm asking the board members for a motion and a second.
I'll move that. This is George.
And a second. We need one more.
Bob did second.
Okay, Bob. And any discussion, any corrections? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Aye.
We approve those meetings. I'll turn it over to Patrick, our treasurer, for a brief update on our financial position.
Hey, everyone. Thanks. This is Patrick Smith. I'm the board treasurer. Since our last meeting, we have made a couple of moves that are relevant for the board to know about. Some of you may have already heard. We moved out of some of our Vanguard holdings. These are the treasury holdings that we had acquired in the last probably 5-6 years, maybe 7 at this point now. The move was related in part to allowing us to, on our own, manage our own funds. And thanks very much to Bob, who is the one who actually worked on the transactions, at least the buy side, buying some new treasury bills directly from the US Treasury. The benefit to Ride Illinois is a few $100s each year. We've already realized some benefit from this. By directly investing our own funds, Bob, and again, thanks Bob, was very helpful to save the money that we are because of the fees that the brokerage firm had been charging for these amounts. It saves us a few $100s. That is not a relatively significant amount for us, but it's an important amount for us. And it's an important shift. So thanks again, Bob, for doing that. And thanks to the board members who have been supportive of our process. Beyond that, generally, our financial positions are very strong. We are perhaps at one of the stronger points in my tenure, which goes back to 2014 or 2015. So we right now, ahead of the actual ride for Gibbet, have some additional cash on hand. Once the ride occurs, board members will see payments going out, expenditures happening, and it'll be more in line with where our budget is for those expenditures, so that the net result of Gibbet will hopefully still be positive. We expect that it will, a net income for us, but the position or the statements that we have at that point in time will be a little bit lower than they are now, just because we'll be paying some cash out. If any board members have specific questions around our financials, I'm happy to field them now. Otherwise, I yield the floor back.
Thanks, Patrick. I'd like to recognize 3 board members who are stepping down. As you can see on your screen, Mary Jo, Dave, and Bruce. I want everyone to know that these are non-paid positions. We ask a lot of our board members, and we're very appreciative of whatever they can contribute. Mary Jo has been very great with, she has a financial background, has given us great advice, has helped our organization grow professionally and become much more effective. And she's helped us with governance. I think Ride Illinois as a nonprofit organization is a lot stronger today, thanks to Mary Jo's input. Dave is an engineer, and he's provided great engineering and consultant perspective, which is something we haven't always had, or haven't really had at all. He's provided technical expertise to local folks who are designing trails. Something we try to do is provide a little assistance when people ask. He's participated in our bike summits as a resource. And Bruce is a local trail advocate from Northwestern Illinois, who's been a great participant on the board. He's helped a lot with our annual bike tour, Gibbet, devoting a lot of time to that. And we're going to miss all these folks. A lot of times the board members move on because they leave the state. You have to be an Illinois resident to be on the boards. So some of these folks are moving on to new endeavors. And I'd like to thank the rest of the board too. Our board members are Angela, or on the screen, it's Katie, Angela, Trevor, Don, Ramon, George, Bob, Cynthia, Patrick, and me. And again, these people are all participating because they're interested in improving Illinois through biking. And we appreciate their expertise. We hope to have a diverse board, bringing a lot of different points of view. We don't always agree with each other, but we always agree that we want to make Illinois better through biking. So we appreciate all their work and their interest and their dedication. And we try and have board members from various parts of the state so that we can be close to the ground level and what's going on. So periodically we will elect new board members. If any members are interested, keep on the lookout for our next elections. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ramon, who's going to talk about the slate of candidates for new board members.
Thank you, Dick. My name is Ramon Escapa, and I am the chair of the Governance and Nominating Committee. And I am on that committee with Don Dirks, Cynthia Hoyle, and Dave and Gina were great in helping us this year. We have done a lot of things this year. One of the first things we did after we formed our committees was to update our bylaws. And by updating our bylaws, we changed the process by which we elect new members. And so we put out an interest to see who was interested in becoming a board member, and the response was truly overwhelming. And we narrowed that down and we conducted interviews of the candidates. We conducted, I believe, 7 interviews. We have elected the 5, or are going to move to elect the 5 that you see on the screen there. And we really took time to get to know every one of them, not only through the interview, but we considered also the needs of Riot, Illinois, where it's at now and where it's heading in the future. And so I'm excited because we're going to get to vote on this slate of candidates today. And I would like to just briefly introduce them. We'll start with Mr. Mike Keating. He's from Chicago. He is an attorney who focuses on cases involving cyclists. He is also a bike commuter, a father of 3 young children, has lobbying experience in Springfield, and successfully lobbied for Dennis's Law. And as a result, cyclists now have the same rights to the right-of-way as motorists in Illinois. We have Deborah Liu from Urbana. She is the mother of a young child and also an avid bike commuter. She was involved in a pretty serious bike crash in 2019 and is a proponent of Vision Zero and involved in past advocacy efforts. She is very analytical. She seeks data-driven solutions to problems and is a proponent of safe, connected bike and pedestrian infrastructure. One of the stories she shared with us was saving a cardinal because she was riding her bike and she was able to see it. Unlike if you were in a vehicle, you wouldn't have seen that. And I apologize right up front, but if I mispronounce his name, but Repujit Singh from Naperville. He is an IT consultant who can assist staff with technology and security. He sits on another board and on the governance committee of that board also. He has a strong desire to focus on advocacy in Springfield. He's interested in increased involvement with donors and interested in increasing the diversity of the board. I'd also like to introduce Linda Warner from SIGL. She's experienced with educational program development. She's a tour leader for Adventure Cycling Association. She is executive director of SWAN, Stop Women Abuse Now. She's interested in developing fundraisers and events and has a strong desire to bring about positive change. And last but not least, I would like to introduce Ginger Wheeler from Glen Ellen. She's an advocate for the East Branch DuPage River Trail since 2014. She understands the value of connected trail networks. She's experienced in marketing, social media, writing, public relations. She has an advocacy experience with politicians and the Illinois Department of Transportation, and has done past work with Forest Preserve and districts and governmental organizations. So I would like to introduce our 5 members as our slate of candidates. Now, as I mentioned previously, we are doing this a little differently this year with the updated bylaws. So we will vote on the entire slate of candidates to join the Ride Illinois board for a 3-year term. And so you are not voting for any individual candidate, you're voting for the slate of candidates. So at this time, we will launch the poll. And Dave?
All right, I think folks should be able to see it. Yeah, there we go. People are answering. So yeah, your options are basically yay and nay.
And we will give it
Yeah.
about
Keep
45.
an eye. I can see percent completed. Thank you all for your quick response here. We'll share the results. This is an anonymous poll. We are at 87%. We'll give it a few more seconds. I know everyone leads busy lives, so some folks may have been pulled away. And the way the bylaws are written, it's a majority vote of the members in attendance at this meeting. So you all are speaking on behalf of all Ride Illinois members. We are at 90%. So I'm going to go ahead and end the poll here, Ramon.
Okay. And I just while Dave's doing that, I want to thank everybody that helped with the interviews. It was very exciting to get to meet people that share the same amount of interest in cycling and advocacy as we do. And I am really, really looking forward to working with these 5 board members as they come on and making Ride Illinois better for everyone.
There you go. I think everyone's able to see the results. So it is unanimous. Thank
Let's
you
say
all.
the
for
yays
voting.
have it, but I think they both say yay. So I think the yays, I approve.
Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies there. Yes. Fix that for next time. The yays have it. Sorry. Go ahead, Ramon.
So thank you. And so I would welcome all 5 slate members, Mr. Keating, Ms. Liu, Mr. Singh, Ms. Warner, and Ms. Wheeler.
Yeah, and those of you who are on the call tonight, if you wanted to say a few words, I will echo Ramon's sentiments, and I'm very excited to begin this journey with you and work with you over the next at least 3 years. So if anyone wanted to say anything, please do. Not required.
Not all speak at once.
That's all right. Members will be hearing from the new board members as well. So welcome. Let me just move along here and pass. We're going to pass the baton over to Cynthia for this matter of business. Oh, and Cynthia, please fill in the bottom right corner. That's one thing I didn't do.
Thank you, Dave. So just to fill everybody in on our process, the board elects the officers, and just prior to this meeting, the membership meeting, the board met and we selected officers for the coming year. I'm honored to have been asked to be president, and I want to say how much we appreciate all the work that Dick has done, helping steer us through a global pandemic, and with an organization that did not really lose membership, that our budget held together. The organization actually has, I think, grown stronger. And so that's here. Thank you so much for that, Dick. George, who is in Southern Illinois, has agreed to be a vice president, and I'm delighted about that. Patrick has agreed to continue as treasurer, but we are hoping to transition that position soon for him due to personal and work responsibilities. And happy to say that the secretary is no longer a blank slate there. It's Don Dirk is going to continue with being our secretary. And so I also wanted to thank the outgoing board members. People have given generously of their time and their expertise, and the organization is doing well. And I also want to thank the staff. They have really done a fantastic job and made all of us look good. And we really appreciate all the work that you have done for us. So I will ask for a motion to adjourn the annual member meeting.
I'll move.
All right,
Dick moved. We have a second.
Second.
Thank you, Rip. All right, all in favor, say yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Hi.
All right, any opposed? So we are moving on. And so the next slide is staff is going to also give us a little bit more of an update of what is coming. And then we're going to be talking about developing a new strategic plan. And I am a planner, and Angela is a planner. So hey, mate, this is our wheelhouse. We get very excited and geek out when people talk about doing plans. So we are happy to be working on that. And so Dave is going to talk about how you can help support our work, and then we'll move on from there.
Great. Thank you, Cynthia. And thanks to the board members again who are stepping down, those who served in officers' roles, and to the new officers. I look forward to working with you, and of course to our new board members, directors as well. It's an exciting time. So Cynthia mentioned the strategic plan. That is something that I really look forward to working with the board on, so we can look at the next 3 or 5 or whatever time frame we decide is pertinent. Supporting our work, I am not a salesman, right? I took this job, came from a very somewhat cozy 9 to 5. I could turn off the brain at 5 o'clock. That doesn't happen anymore. So if I'm ever going to be able to sell something, now's the time. So all I ask of everyone that's here is keep your membership current. Your financial contribution helps for all the overhead, for the infrastructure, for the marketing, for the education. It's all part of keeping this organization, keeping the lights on. We don't have fancy space, for example. Gina and I work from home. Ed works from home. We definitely are respectful of your contributions, and we have that fiduciary responsibility. So we're not doing anything extravagant. We appreciate your contributions and honor them. Help us recruit some new members. And if we can increase diversity at the same time, it's a win-win. Tell folks about Ride Illinois. Tell them what you like about us. If you don't know enough about us, well, hey, let's have a conversation, right? That's why staff is here. We're here to answer your questions and help to kind of remove those barriers so this organization can grow and, not grow financially. We want to grow from an impact standpoint, right? So the more members we have, the greater the impact we can have, the more people we have out there talking about biking and just getting out there and riding their bike and leading by example. We have, as I mentioned earlier, our Grand Illinois Bike Tours. There's still options to register to stay in a hotel. There's a few spots left, as well as in the campground. So it was my first experience with Give It last year. Granted, I was working most of the time, but it was a really great time. Got to meet some really interesting and new friends. I had some great conversations. So if that's your vibe, join us in June. We mentioned the Let's Ride Illinois event. It's it's kind of more of just one event, right? It's all these collection of events that happen statewide. Lead that ride around your community. We have tools, we have a toolkit, we have social media graphics and posters, all these things that are going to make it easier for you to plan this event in your community. So more to come on that. We mentioned the summit earlier. Absolutely would love to see folks down in Champaign for the summit. And then we do have, we're going to be actually raffling one of these off, but we have a couple new designs for shirts and jerseys. This was one of them that we have. We've got the magnets that we're going to be raffling off some of these as well. It's our new I Slow for Bicyclists magnet. There's stuff out there. Those things help support our programs as well. So any way that you can, whether it be spreading the word or supporting us with some of your dollars, it's very much appreciated. And with that, I'm really excited to premiere. This is the first time we're really sharing it. We put together a 30th anniversary video. We were fortunate to work with a consultant and friend, Kevin Gilsdorf, who has helped us with many things. And his creative talent really made this, and his vision for this video made it happen. So it's a 9-minute video. It's a little bit long, but I think you're going to find that it zips by pretty quick. And we tried to capture the history, the future, the energy, the excitement about biking in this video. So give me just a second. I need to stop sharing this, and I'm going to bring up the video. And then right after that, we're going to take questions from folks. So if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the Q&A, and we'll get to that here in just a minute. So I'm just going to ask maybe Gina, once we get this rolling here, if you can just confirm. Not 90 minutes. No, 9 minutes. Please, Mike. No. All right. So let's see. Are you Gina, or if someone can just confirm? Able to see?
Yes.
Yes,
Nothing yet.
I can
It's
see
just a
that
big
you're
black
ready.
box.
Yes,
All right. Here we go. Enjoy. Thanks, everybody.
We're rolling.
Dave, I think we have a problem with the sound.
Yeah, the sound worked for 2 seconds and then it quit.
Uh-oh. All right. Hang on. Let me see if I can. I wonder if it's because I muted. Let me. You got to see that again. Sorry, folks.
It's likely you're mute, Dave.
Hey, we're here at Working Bikes to talk about the future of Ride Illinois and the past of Ride Illinois. Hi, my name is Dave Simmons. I am Executive Director of Ride Illinois since 2019. We're doing a lot of great things that make Illinois better through biking, be it education, advocacy work, legislation. We're really the voice of cyclists in Illinois.
Ride Illinois used to be the League of Illinois Bicyclists.
From 1996 to 2000, Al Sturgis was our volunteer executive director. He did this full-time job as a volunteer with a plan of raising enough money for the organization that we could hire a paid staff person to succeed him eventually. He executed that plan wonderfully. When he stepped down and I stepped in as that first paid employee, it was just amazing how quickly this transition took place.
Having the nerve to rebrand and change the name to something really inclusive like Ride Illinois, which includes everybody. So that was a bold thing they did.
So another highlight of working with Ride Illinois was when we did launch the bike safety quiz, because that was a very new thing. The idea was to get a little bit of information to a lot of people.
Which has been a huge benefit to this state and is now being a benefit in other states as well. Other states are adapting it for their state laws.
One of the things that Ride Illinois directors have done is organize the Illinois delegations at the National Bike Summit. And those delegations go up the hill to visit with representatives and senators to try to make sure that a little bit of our transportation dollars get split away from the automobile and put into bicycle infrastructure, bike paths, bike trails, better sidewalks, things for pedestrians.
It's really exciting over the past couple of decades to see a project kind of come into fruition and have it turn into reality. Because Ride Illinois is now involved on legislation-related lobbying and pushing for education, they're changing how they get that education out to people. So using technology as a platform to make it more accessible, more interesting, and more exciting, I think goes a long way to giving people more ways to engage.
We've created a platform with a lot of webinars, and we've also created a place where all the certified cycling instructors in the state can go to help schedule classes, and even provided some funding for people to do that education work.
And it really opens up their eyes to know that Ride Illinois and others are thinking safely and seriously about safety when you're on a bike.
IDOT has begun focusing more on the other users of the roadway besides cars. And now there's a complete streets policy. We got a free-foot passing law passed. We've helped pass laws on not using cell phones while driving.
The fact that Ride Illinois is really trying to get this Ride Illinois community and make everyone that rides a bike, for no matter what reason, to be a part of this community is something I find very exciting, because everyone should want to ride a bike and everyone should feel comfortable doing that.
In order to really experience any community, you need to be in the community. And that means
The far south side,
Brookfield, Illinois.
Champaign-Urbana.
from Rockford down to Cairo and everywhere in between.
I've got contacts in Elmhurst, Lawndale, and North Lawndale, Bloomington, Illinois.
Carbondale, where I live, is currently working with Ride Illinois on an infrastructure package and updating some of their bike routes and their biking infrastructure. So communities are committed to biking, not only for tourism, but also for health and commuting.
Road riding, commuting, racing, mountain biking. And for me, mountain biking is the thing that I get most excited about. So trying to encourage other people to mountain bike and trying to encourage other people to bike no matter what the reason is.
Biking has so many benefits. It's physical health, mental health, emotional health, and it doesn't require long distances or a lot of time biking. We really just want to get people out on the bike to experience the joy, and a bike is sustainable transportation. There's a huge percentage of trips that are taken within 2 miles of home. Any kind of bicycle is the perfect vehicle for those trips.
We have, like I said, great gravel roads, mountain bike trails. We have wineries, breweries, and much nicer weather than the northern half of Illinois. Changing and evolving with the times. So we have been able to provide numerous online outreach and education opportunities, social events online, and the Bike Summit is going to be an in-person and virtual event.
So Active Transportation Alliance, Ride Illinois, we work on a lot of planning projects together, advocacy, road design, and rely also on this connection to agencies like IDOT, with the counties, with other communities throughout the state.
From a diversity and inclusion perspective, it's going to be important to recognize what motivates other riders, other users, and other advocates to care about bicycling.
How to make it safer for everyone, because we make it safe for kids, we make it safe for everyone.
I'm affiliated with the Far South Chicago Coalition, and they have embraced biking in all facets.
On a statewide level, we could have the mode shift that we need, and we could invest in the transportation infrastructure that benefits everybody. And it benefits us not just in terms of cost savings, but our health. It's a huge benefit to health. Ride Illinois is a essential part of that transformation to a multimodal future.
The bike is more than just a toy, that it's a way to stay healthy and to get around town, and to serve people who can't get around by car.
We're becoming more visible in community rides, community fundraisers, and other rides throughout the state. The Let's Ride program is one of those, put together a kind of how-to for local bike groups to encourage and support rides throughout the state. And I think that that's the first step to getting more women on bikes and more families on bikes and more people moving.
My dream is that every kid in every school in the state should learn bicycle safety skills. Bicycling is the one thing that we can do in our entire lives that helps us stay fit and gets us where we need to go.
I think that Illinois could become a biking mecca. And I think that Ride Illinois can be instrumental in that.
Through education, people can learn what are the proper things to do, how to avoid the common crash types, both as a driver as well as a cyclist.
Every house should be a trailhead. We should all be able to walk out our front door and get on our bike and go where we need to go on our bike.
Through providing access and education, that Ride Illinois can draw not only residents of Illinois, but residents of other states to Illinois so that they can see this as a great place to ride.
I truly believe that bicycling could help save our planet. If we could get enough people to shift some of their local trips to bicycling, we could have a serious impact on greenhouse gas emissions. And we should be able to make some of those trips by biking, because there are roads that we're going to have to share space on. We can't have separated bicycle infrastructure everywhere, but we can have enough separated bicycle infrastructure to make a network. Well, I will just say that I have a dream of a future where the connections that we would have with one another, if we can make that transition, would make our communities better, healthier, and safer, and more affordable. And Ride Illinois is an important part of that.
So I think that becoming a member, becoming involved in Ride Illinois is a great way to just show your commitment and your excitement about biking in Illinois.
Well, let me ask you a few questions. Are you kidding me? Why don't you have a helmet?
All right, there you have it. I'm gonna stop sharing that here. Hopefully y'all enjoyed that. A little bit of levity, but also, try to make some poignant remarks and look towards the future. So again, thanks to Kevin for his leadership developing that, and everyone who participated. That was really a fun experience, and I'm very, very pleased with how it turned out. So I think with that, let me just go back and make sure I'm not skipping anything here. We're looking at some Q&A, and then we have a raffle, and we're gonna kind of wrap up there. So Q&A, Gina, if you're able to look at any of the questions that have come in.
Yes, I think quite a few of them were answered, it looks like, as we went through. Will we have the link of the video on the website? I'm assuming we will.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Quick note on that. It's gone through several different cuts, trying to just make it a little bit better. Kevin and another gentleman, Jeremy, worked really hard to get it kind of ready for today. We may make a few other tweaks, but yeah, it's going to be shared. We're going to use that as a marketing piece and to get people, kind of excited as well. Apologies for my cat that's saying hello.
And I can tell you, I was asked about the shirt that I was wearing in the video. And if you go to our website, you can go to the link for the Redbubble store. There's a whole bunch of different styles of shirts or other garments and colors. And in fact, I wore it this evening as well to kind of celebrate. And then there's been a lot of chats, but most of them are kind of thanking us or great ideas. And some of them I think we'll have to follow up later, like writing groups in Southern Illinois and stuff of that nature.
Anything in the Q&A by chance? I don't. I got too many
Like I said, I believe most of the questions in the Q&A were answered.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, the board members have been answering.
Oh, excellent. Thanks. See?
Yes, which we greatly appreciate.
You're rock stars.
Dave, this is Patrick. I'm going to jump back in.
Yeah.
There have been some questions about our financial investments. If anyone has strong concerns about that, please reach out to Dave and get in touch with me, the board treasurer, Patrick Smith.
Yeah, I will say
we've been doing exactly, Leo, what your last comment just said. I do that every year, and I have been doing that every year since 2013 when I joined the board as a board member, and then since 2014 when I came in as the treasurer.
And we do have an annual financial review. Actually just got the preliminary today from an accountant. I'm happy to report that everything is, on the up and up as it has been for many years. Some of that information we can be a little more transparent about, share some information on our website for sure. But yeah, in general, that is a process we're required to do, required by law, required by the state. So everything's looking good for, that would have been fiscal year 21. Our fiscal year runs from October 1st to September 30th. So great.
If any of our members are interested in joining our board to have more transparency, to have more say in this, we welcome your participation. If there's anyone specifically interested in treasury items or in joining to view more treasury role responsibilities, I welcome you to apply to join our organization as a board member. Please do so.
We have to that point, we have an application which will probably open up again and folks can apply really at any time, but it's going to be this time of year when new members are seated typically. But we were fortunate, we had 17 people apply and we took the top 5. And
we had a question about impacting safety on rural roads. And I just want to say that Right Illinois has been doing amazing work on some of these issues. When IDOT sends out, they send us information on road projects they're going to be doing each year. And Ed has been a fantastic resource on this, Ed Barsati. He reviews them and sends comments on behalf of Right Illinois. And with the regional action teams, he's also been sharing that opportunity for input with the members of those teams. And we have all had an opportunity then to give input to IDOT. And I just wanted to tell you as a result of that, for example, in the community I live in, there is an IDOT road that is very high speed, no sidewalks most of the way, a lot of pedestrians, bus routes. I have to bike on it to get where I need to go to work with the transit district. And so we gave them a whole lot of input on that. Right Illinois did, and local advocates. And so there's going to be a meeting between the city and IDOT, and they're going to talk about when they resurface that road, changing the design and doing some improvements. So that's the kind of thing that's happening. We also worked with Right Illinois when there was a hit and run, killed a local hospital administrator on a rural road, and IDOT was going to be improving the shoulders. And as a result of the intervention of Right Illinois, the shoulder is going to be widened so that it is a place where bicyclists can be. So if you're really interested in that, ask to join a regional action team. And those opportunities will be coming your way. Also on those teams, we talk with staff about ways in which we can further engage with local officials. So, it's not glamorous work. I will say it's work that's very incremental and takes a lot of time and effort, but we can make a big impact eventually. And I will have to say, I was totally flabbergasted to find out another IDOT road in Champaign. They're going to implement a road diet and put in bike lanes. And if you had told me 2 years ago that they would agree to do that, I would have laughed. So, things are changing, and Ride Illinois is really having an impact on that. And so please, if you're interested, join us in helping work on that.
As
Yeah.
for the board meetings, I don't know, the membership, I don't know if you're aware of this, but we've opened the board members to the board meetings to the public. So when our board meetings are held and they're that's 4 times a year and they're advertised, it's this similar format where non-board members can just view it, but you can do the chat to ask questions if something comes up during the meeting. But anybody is more than welcome to attend the board meeting to find out what's going on in the background.
And we did have a question about the CalSag Trail project that I meant to type in and answer and hit live. So I know they are still working on the eastern portion, and there's still a lot of issues with easements, but rest assured, I live right by the CalSag Trail. So anytime we hear updates on that, we will definitely be promoting that in the e-news and on social media.
Yeah. And I see Gary's question about rumble strips to be adjacent to the lane rather than the far side. So Gary, that is IDOT standard now, 4-foot shoulders. So it's a 4-inch fog line, the white line, if you will, offset by 4 inches, an 8-inch rumble, and then a 3-foot clear zone. I think that adds up to 4 feet. Don't quote me on the measurements, but that is the IDOT standard. So any new projects, that will be what IDOT implements. With the caveat being, if it requires widening the roadway, that's not always going to be the case.
I would like to chime in here. And one thing that everyone who's a member of Ride Illinois can do, it is not always view IDOT or counties or municipalities as the enemy. IDOT is a decentralized agency, so they have districts that are fairly autonomous. So it's get to know the people who work in your IDOT district, get to know your county engineer who's in charge of the road work in the counties, get to know your municipality's public works director or streets commissioner, whoever. And when they do the right thing, thank them. Don't be afraid to thank them. When Cynthia mentioned that just a kind of out of the blue, IDOT was doing the right thing, it's because people like you are letting them know that these improvements need to be made. So help us have an impact with them by getting to know these folks. And when they do a good job, thank them. It's a lot of times when a new road is open, no one shows up for the ribbon cutting, but when a new bike trail is open, lots of people show up. And that's how we make improvements over time is thank them, don't treat them as the enemy, help them learn how to do the right thing. I'll get off my soapbox.
Thank you.
No, you're right. When we talked with our regional person about the road, the shoulder on the road, it was in Mahomet. He invited all of us to please send him the information on roads that we regularly ride on in rural areas that need improvement. And so when you make those contacts, then there's an opportunity to give direct input to the people who are involved with the planning and design. And these things happen very long term. And so you really have to have those relationships so that you have an opportunity for input.
Yeah, I'd like to comment on one other question that came in, but before I do that, the real change takes place when there's policy change, right? So there is I don't want to call it a great resignation, but there is a number of folks that currently work at IDOT who are retiring. So there's a whole new generation, if you will, who were taught differently, who were taught the different engineering standards. And so, yes, it's going to take time for that policy, those policy changes and the manual changes to take place, but we're going to keep on them. The things we've asked for in the past that may have been turned down, we're going to ask again. We're going to be, politely nagging them to make some of these changes, because we really need the policy to change in order for the engineers to then implement that when they're out, when they're designing the projects. And then I see the note from Mike Weaver about the calendar. Yeah, we do have a calendar on the website. It's not a training calendar per se. It's an event, advocacy, and education calendar. We'll put any, I wouldn't say any, we will put any bike-related event on there. It's not really meant to be like that, the social ride. It's more like invitational rides or times where we're going out as staff or as regional action team members and attending an event. The fact that they're in Northern Illinois simply means we need more folks from Southern Illinois sharing those events, because that's not something we necessarily compile. We ask for that. And then when folks share that information with us, we put it on the calendar. So Mike, if there's things that are happening down, by you, please send us a link. We're happy to pull the details out and toss them on the calendar. I think if everyone's okay, shift over to the raffle here. Sound okay? And we'll look at the chat. We'll look at the Q&A. Because you registered as an attendee, we'll have your email address so we can always follow up if need be. So I'm going to go ahead and share real quick here. I'm going to share my whole desktop.
Onto the raffle.
Onto the raffle. So we have a few raffle prizes here. I think you're able to see this large enough. So we got 3 of these. These are our new I Slove Her Bicyclist card magnets. So we're gonna do 3 of those. Maple Leaf Coffee Roasters. I never drank coffee before I met Alex from Maple Leaf, who is a corporate member. So we're gonna raffle off a couple bags of his artisan roasted coffee. And then we'll also raffle off one of our new t-shirts. Just know we'll follow up with a size, and then we are gonna be placing an order. We're also gonna be doing a pre-order if others wanted them. So we've got, if I can add that up, 6 raffle prizes. We're going to use Wheel of Names. And Cynthia, did I steal your thunder on that? I apologize.
It's all right.
Yeah, sorry, that was supposed to be
yes.
Cynthia. So Wheel of Names, if you've not used it, it's kind of fun, free. I ran a report from Zoom of everyone who is registered. Now, of course, not everyone attended, but we're just going to say whether you're here. Yeah, whether you're here or not, if you made the effort to register, you're going to be eligible. So for the 3 magnets, and Gina, if you could jot down the winners here. The first winner, here we go.
My spectacles are not good enough to read that. Oh,
Charlie.
It pulls them out. Yay, Charlie.
All right, Charlie, you're coming out. You can't win again. All right, so we got Charlie with 1 magnet. Next
Happily,
one.
it enlarges their names.
Right. Yeah. You don't need to look at the. Hey, Layla. Congrats, Layla.
Congratulations.
1 more magnet. All right, Jim Krebs, associate from up this way. All right, so 2 bags of coffee. You will be able to choose the kind you want, as well as if you want it ground or whole bean. So 2 bags of coffee. Bag number 1. And I just got a whiff of coffee. Hey, Bill Chalbert.
Hey, Bill.
Congratulations.
You might have to share, Bill.
All right, and 1 more coffee. We wanted to have a little bit of fun tonight as well. Jason, congrats. Jason is one of our most active regional action team members, so very fitting.
Congratulations.
And then finally, we have 2 designs. We'll share the 2 designs with folks, and you can choose your size. We're going to do one of these tech t-shirts that have a fancy little zipper in the back as well. The winner of that is all right, Wes Ridgway.
Yay.
That's down.
Congratulations,
by you,
Wes.
right, George? Wes is down your way.
Mhm.
All right, so we got our winners. Gina, did you get all the names?
I congratulated them in the chat, which will be safe. So
Oh,
yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to close that. I believe that essentially wraps up.
Brings us to
yeah.
thanking the members. And is Angela still here?
Oh, perhaps not.
She said she might. She's
Right. Well, here you can read.
conference.
We can read the script. I don't even have to say it then.
All right.
Point being here, we're accessible in a lot of different ways, including on social media. So I think we share some pretty cool stuff on social media. Hopefully you do as well. Feel free to share it with others. This does wrap up our 2022 member meeting. Yeah, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell complete strangers, right, about us. You see somebody on a bike, let them know there's an organization out there working to make Illinois better through biking. And sorry, I skipped one. This is the thank you. This is, I think, yeah, we're Angela.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yes.
And we're
Cynthia, you want to
saying-
take the calls to action? You can see them right there too.
That's right. To ride your bike and encourage others to support Ride Illinois and help us to make the state a better place for biking and to make Illinois a better state, period, because of biking.
And here's your homework. If you've taken the quiz before, excellent. We appreciate that. Somewhere getting close to 200,000 folks have taken bike safety quiz. If it's been a while, take it again. We also have a Spanish version available as well. So have to
Just
leave you
a
with
quick
little homework.
note, Dave, for Bike to School Day on May 4th. The middle school students here in Urbana to get a free Bike Month t-shirt were asked to take the bike safety quiz. And so we've got 90 kids from the middle school who've taken the quiz and signed up for Bike to School Day. So regardless of whether they actually ride their bike to school that day, they have learned about bike safety. So the quiz is an amazing tool, everyone. Please think of creative ways to use it. It really does make a difference in providing education in our communities.
Thank you, Cynthia. Thanks to the board members. You're welcome to stick around for just a second if there's a way to end the webinar. And yeah, we'll do it again next year. Please keep in touch. Thanks, everybody.